Okay, thank you. Looks like we have 2 minutes left. Yes.
All right, we back, Larry.
Waiting on Eddie, and we'll get it.
Yeah.
We're waiting on one more.
Okay.
Turn these back on. Okay, now call us back into order. Moving to paragraph 3, action items tonight. Part A, the marketing agreement with MPA Strategies and State and Frank Foundation. Mrs. Burnett, did you want to say something? Ms. Burnett, did you want to say something to start? No?
I will if you want me to.
No,
but I
go
don't-
ahead,
no,
please. Okay.
No, I don't.
Mr. Williamson? No. Okay. So what be the pleasure of the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Griffin.
I motion that we have postponed until the April meeting, on the 22nd, in order to give our, give the mayor, the town administrator and our town attorney opportunity to do some final negotiations.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir, did you mean the 26th? I believe that's our next scheduled meeting. 26 April.
I'm sorry, that's dead correct.
Do we have a second?
Larry, restate that motion.
Councilman Griffin, yes, please restate your motion.
The motion is that, we postpone action on this until the 26th, which is our regular scheduled meeting, which allows the town administrator, mayor, as well as our attorney to further negotiate.
I'm sorry. His wording was to postpone the negotiation until the 26th. I think the council, Councilman Griffin, if I may, is to continue negotiations until the 26th as a new deadline. Is that what we're looking for? That's why there's no second on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, wait, second to his original motion to postpone. Is that what you were seconding, or you were seconding what I said? Okay,
Just said what you just said.
okay, there is no
Continuation.
second, so that motion fails. So can you restate it, Councilman Griffin?
No, sir.
Or any other council member? Any other council member have any motion pertaining to the marketing agreement with MPA Strategies and State and Frank Foundation? Okay, I will just remind the council that today was the deadline given to me as mayor with the town staff to negotiate a contract. So having no motion to continue would simply mean that negotiation ends and the contract fails.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, Councilman Griffin.
based on what you just said, if the deadline is today, we have no motion on the floor, that means that all negotiation with MPA is now dead. If I'm reading that correctly, and, I guess we have to look and see what our next move is gonna be. Is that correct?
That is my understanding. When you granted me the authority to negotiate, you gave me a deadline of 1 April. We were unsuccessful to come up with a mutual contract. Therefore, unless you continue that authorization for me and the town staff, then we have no negotiation and we have no contract.
So I make a motion.
Councilman Sloan Griffin?
Yeah. I make a motion to continue negotiation, giving you, the mayor, town administrator, and attorney the authority to negotiate, to continue the negotiation of that contract with the deadline of our next council meeting in April,
25 April?
25 April. 26 April.
I'm sorry, 26.
Yeah,
Thank you.
26 April.
Point of clarity, was that not the same motion Councilman Larry Griffin made?
So
He motioned to postpone
I
negotiations.
say continue.
He said continue.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So there's a motion on the floor to allow the mayor and the town staff to continue negotiation with MPA Strategies and State and Frank Foundation until 26 April, which is our next monthly meeting. Do I hear a second? Hearing none, that motion fails. What be the pleasure of the council?
I'll make a motion.
Councilman Brock?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I motion that council award a 6-month contract effective April 15th, 2021, and by 6 months, I mean 180 days, to State and Frank Foundation at the agreed-upon compensation laid out in the contract using funds from hospitality revenues, hospitality funds. Within those 180 days, that will allow any issues with future fundings to be clarified and resolved. A 6-month contract.
May I ask a legal question about his
Yes,
motion?
ma'am. Point of
Are
order.
you saying then to use the contract that's already negotiated minus the SAT funds? Are you saying a new contract and that's all that's in the contract, what you're saying?
I'm saying to take this contract as it's written, and in paragraph 2, the source of funding would be hospitality funds for 180 days.
Just to clarify, you're saying not general funds,
No.
so what she would be doing would meet hospitality tax requirements for those 180 days exclusively. Is that what you're saying?
I believe so. Okay,
Do you
can I?
understand his question? He
Yes,
said,
yes.
will
I'll-
what she's
Let
doing-
me amend then.
Okay.
Hospitality funds, I'll make a motion to award a 180-day contract at the agreed-upon compensation using hospitality funds. In the event hospitality funds are disallowed, any difference would be funded with general fund dollars.
Point of clarity. When we set to use general funds, augment the original agreement,
Well, we don't have an agreement.
well, I
but
mean,
yes, sir.
the use of the A-tax fund, we were set to use general fund to supplement. It's like half and half,
Somewhat.
yes. Not H-tax.
I don't think,
Yeah, I was, I don't, in the beginning, I don't think it was specified, I think it was, I wasn't here, so I
Yes,
don't know
I
exactly
understand.
what, but, I think the understanding was the general fund which would cover what was not, covered by the state A tax, was my understanding.
That was the position, Mr. Lewis.
And, so I think that would just be the easiest in terms of giving flexibility in services.
Tourism-related expenditures would be covered under H-tax. Anything that didn't meet the criteria
Right.
of H-tax expenditures would be covered under general funds, whether that's 90-10, 60-40, however it shakes out and is invoiced as such, which is laid out in the contract.
right, but,
But it's easier to use general.
yes, because
Well,
Mr.
of
Williamson,
course.
well, Mr. Williamson now has to come up with a way to fund it from the hospitality tax, which is a little more difficult to manage than general fund, correct?
I understand.
I mean, I'll amend the motion to use general funds. It just, you know, I think that, I feel that there are expenditures that can qualify for A-tax and/or H-tax within this proposal. I would prefer to use H-tax because it's a larger pool. And then we supplement with general funds.
So for clarity, Councilman Brock, restate your motion.
I will make a motion to award a 6-month or 180-day contract to State and Frink effective April 15th, 2021, using the most recent contract provided to us with the amendment in paragraph 2 under compensation, allowing the recipient to be paid with hospitality and general funds.
I just, one thing to clarify, just because it's been crossed out before, when we have had hospitality tax funds is what you're referring to.
Yes.
The wording that came back to us was hospitality funds without the tax in there, just to clarify that.
I believe they're not one and the same.
Too,
How so?
but just because there was a difference between what was sent back to her and what came back, the word tax was taken out. So just to clarify, just so that as we move forward and we refer back to this motion,
Yeah.
it's probably too technical, but I just think just because it's going to get so technical on the motion,
So
just
general,
clarify that you're talking about hospitality tax fund.
Yes. I believe hospitality tax funds and hospitality funds, I believe would be the same.
I do too, but I just want to.
But we can do hospitality tax funds.
Things have been crossed out and put back, so I
Yes.
just want to.
Okay.
Point of clarity, Councilman Brock, I like general fund better.
Okay. Then let's amend the motion to strictly fund 6 months out of general funds. Strike hospitality tax funds, use general funds. Do I need to restate or
Yes.
make a motion to award a 6-month contract, 180 days, effective April 15th, to State and Frink, using the contract that's written before us, with an amendment to paragraph 2 under compensation, that the aforementioned services will be performed using general funds. If I'm not mistaken, Burnett, that would be, Ms. Burnett, that would be the only sentence in paragraph 2, correct? Everything else would be stricken?
If you just said the contract would be awarded to State and Frink instead of saying MPA, and it's wholly owned subsidiary nonprofit state.
Okay, then I will, do I need to amend one more time? Like, we can do MPA.
It's up to you if you want to amend, but when you're saying that takes everything else out of there, I think, that the aforementioned services, because that's linked to it in that paragraph as well, if you see at the beginning. You say using the contract term, so I think we're okay with that. I'm tracking what you're saying.
Yes.
I just think this State and Frink, I don't believe that would be agreeable by MPA. I think it's going to have to be MPA, and it's wholly owned
Okay,
subsidiary.
do I need to revise the motion?
Yes.
Okay, last time, let's see if I can get this right.
Read the wholly owned subsidiary language there. I
Okay.
think that might help you with that.
Okay.
MPA and.
Make a motion to award a 6-month contract, 180 days, effective April 15th, 2021, to MPA Strategies, its related entities and subsidiaries, including State and Frink?
She has just stated her MPA Strategies and State and Frink.
Okay,
MPA Strategies, the language that came from them was MPA Strategies and its wholly owned subsidiary, State and Frink, which is a nonprofit entity organized and incorporated under the laws of the state of South Carolina. That's not crossed out.
okay.
So is anything going on with this contract about, receiving 501c3? It is 6 months?
No, sir.
Was that stated in the contract?
No,
I don't believe so.
No, the-
But the 6-month timeframe is to give time for that to materialize. That's the,
but you'd have to put that in the
have to
language.
put that in.
It's not in the language right now.
how would you,
Right. That's my hesitation. That and the reference to the RFP at the first paragraph.
You're creating an agreement, you're proposing creating an agreement that's 180 days
yes,
total.
yes.
So I think that the services may change. She may, if that's the only thing that's changing, she may.
I'm recommending two changes. A 6-month contract, 180 days, and to be paid for using general funds. Within that 6 months, we could choose to extend or enter into another contract. That's kind of the idea behind it, essentially doing a 6-month trial period.
I think his point was, because we've been negotiating this with them, we're trying to give you a heads up to make this work. And that is that
Well,
with a
it-
shorter period of time, she's probably going to change this service.
Well, if,
So if we're saying you're postponing it for us to negotiate that with these terms, that's one thing, but I don't.
but those
know
two
if
motions,
that's-
there were two motions to continue or postpone, and they both died.
Yeah.
So if we don't make any sort of motion to move this forward, it's gonna die on the table.
That's correct.
Us too? Okay. The RFP language at the beginning needs to come out.
Okay, then we can strike that.
And
I'm okay with striking that.
Well, I
Why
know, but
were
we,
you-
we did strike that, and she refused it and
Well-
put it back in. I'm just letting you know. Councilman Griffin, Sloan Griffin.
No, I was just gonna make a suggestion to go back with my original motion then, just to continue negotiations. If we're gonna go through a contract piece right now. It looks like we're rewriting the contract right now.
Yes, you're gonna vote on that. You have to. If you vote on that contract, you are right.
I wouldn't consider it a rewrite, I would consider it changing two terms and striking the last sentence of paragraph 1, I guess.
And no other changes, so when she present that back to her, there's no negotiation piece a part of this, right, and so, okay. I just want to make sure that we're not looking for a response with amended, anything coming back from her. This is what the town is offering, period.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that was
Yeah.
clear.
I think the mindset is if it goes well, then you enter into another contract. If it doesn't, it just expires in 180 days.
But I mean, just so you know, we've done this probably, I don't know how many iterations, back and forth, and this was her final version. Sign it or not, it was her, I mean, that was the impression I got. So
Well,
you're
instead of
doing- but
instead
you're
of
making-
annually, I'm just saying let's try it 6 months and pay with
Okay,
funds that we know are unrestricted. And if you put that out there and it's rejected, then there's our answer.
okay.
Do I need to clarify the motion
I mean,
once
we
more?
got all off of it, so
Yeah,
what
okay.
is the motion?
All right,
Clarify
I
the
need-
motion from
I
you.
need to write this down.
Yeah, amend it.
All right, let's see.
We got all to the left.
I
one,
know.
So
It's
everybody's
the discussion.
lost.
Don't forget to include deleting the last paragraph and the last line. of
Last sentence in paragraph 1, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The motion is to award a 6-month, 180-day contract effective April 15th to MPA Strategies and its wholly owned subsidiary, State and Frink Foundation, under the following terms. Strike the last sentence in paragraph 1. Amend the compensation paragraph 2 to state that some of the aforementioned services will be performed using general funds. And then, service and grant writing period, the first date of service will be April 15th, and is a 6-month, 180-day contract, which is on page 2.
One question on that, a clarification, because it had come up and you didn't mention it, that this is an offer and not a negotiation.
It is an offer.
Okay, so this isn't to negotiate this with them, it's to offer it to them and they can take it or not take it.
Yes.
I'll second that.
It's been probably motioned and seconded to present the offer as presented by Councilman Brock. Any further discussion, conversation? Yes, sir. Councilman Brock.
Well, Councilman Griffin, I would feel like after 120 to 150 days, we would have a good idea if we wanted to just essentially extend this contract or sign a new contract. You wouldn't extend it. I guess you could amend it. Could you amend it, Ms. Burnett?
You could, but one of the things that he had brought up before was he wanted to know that this contract, on this iteration of it, would state that she was to become a nonprofit or,
I think, okay.
that's not,
It's not specifically in this agreement, but I think that would be understood that that's the intent of council moving forward, is to use those 30% SAT dollars. So it would be our intent to sign the next contract using the 30% SAT dollars as a portion of the funding. And 6 months, as everyone stated, it should be sufficient enough time to cover all those bases as far as the IRS requirements.
Any further discussion? Mrs. Cowan, please call the roll. No.
No.
Calling a roll call on the motion. That's you.
Yes.
Yes.
So the motion fails. I'll entertain any other motions today.
I make a motion to, my original motion to continue negotiation into our next council meeting.
Second.
Been probably motioned and seconded to continue negotiations until the next monthly meeting of Town Council, the 26th of April. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Cowan, please call the roll. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you all. And no other business before us. Any citizen wish to speak to us? I didn't have it on the agenda, but if you, since your patience, you indulge us tonight. Any comments? Yes, ma'am, I will. Can we do it after, or so I can let these folks go? Or I'll just tell you, last month, the council gave me the authority as mayor and the town administrator and the town attorney, the authority to negotiate a contract with MPA Strategies and State and Frank Foundation. We did not come to a conclusive agreed-upon contract. Therefore, I had to call a special meeting, since tonight was the deadline, to continue negotiation, end negotiation, modify. And you just saw that process play out. So we have voted to continue negotiation to see if we can come up with a contract that's amenable to both parties before the 26th of April. Yes, it was.
Yes, 4-1.
Yes, sir. Mr. Rega.
Continue discussing with the chamber, who also provided a proposal. It just seems like common sense to me says, you've got two different options. You can't get, you want to go 6 months with an organization longer than that. We're getting into a marriage that's already divorced. To me, this is ridiculous. I mean, I run a small business. If I ran my business like this, I would be gray, grayer than I am now. I'd probably have a stroke in about 2 days. But, you know, I wish you guys the best of luck. But I'll put it out on the table, and Phil's here. Phil works his tail off on this stuff, and he offered a good proposal. I would suggest you go back and talk to Phil and say, hey, Phil, can we work something out that's going to benefit the community, that's going to benefit the businesses in Blythewood? And oh, by the way, it's not going to be this shell company that's a nonprofit. That's a joke. I'm going to put it right out in front of everybody. It's a joke in my opinion. And again, you can argue with me, you can disagree with me, but when this thing was proposed by that organization, they did not have a nonprofit organization. They did not fit the requirements as required by the state. The chamber did. So I'll leave it at that. Everybody have a good night.
Thank you, sir. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion to adjourn.
So probably motion and second to adjourn. Any further conversation? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. We're adjourned.
Thank you, Councilman Griffin.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank